Welcome to Finding Alara, a safe space where authors, artists and creatives share their world-building style and mindfulness tactics. Brought to you by Bushland Castle Productions, a micro-publisher with an author support platform that nurtures creative growth and storytelling excellence. Welcome to the Indie Author Book Fair Minisode series. All of these interviews were recorded as a live stream from the Indie Author Book Fair on the 30th of November 2025 in Bunbury. Each Minisode will have the live interview component with myself or Paul Vandermeer from Forest.chat, an interview the guest had with Chris Ilsley on the day, and an excerpt from one of their creative works, which may just inspire you to have a closer look at what is available in the indie book world. Feature guest 19 of 27 is Paul Hewer. Paul grew up under the endless skies of country Western Australia, devouring historical fiction, science fiction and fantasy books and movies from an early age. In adulthood, his love of these genres led him to turn his hand to writing his own science fiction adventure screenplay. Following that, he wrote a short screenplay about a man coping with the onset of Alzheimer's, a topic close to his heart. A national writing competition inspired Paul to try something slightly different, writing a single scene for a novel. Encouraged, he kept on writing, and the Blackwater Chronicles was born. Paul lives in Perth with his wife Linda. The best place to buy Paul's books are from his website paulhewer.com, or you can also get them through Amazon. Direct links are in the show notes. Book 1 of the Blackwater Chronicles is called The Wooden Crown, and the hook is, in a world where crowns are forged in blood and loyalty is a fragile blade, a young prince must choose between duty and survival. Book 2 of the Blackwater Chronicles, The Empty Throne, has the hook, loyalties fracture, a blood feud burns, and the fate of the realm hangs in the balance. We have done our best to clean up the audio for the interviews, but it was recorded live, so there is some noise from the crowd embedded within the files. I hope that this gives you a feel for what the energy was like on the day. I will return to your ears at the end to share my key takeaways and let you know who the next guest is going to be.
Hello,
right.
Paul.
G'day.
I'm Paul too. That's great, isn't it?
Oh, look, got for a great start.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
We must have come out of the same generation or something like that.
Close.
So, Paul, what got you into writing and how long have you been playing this game?
Well, I first started writing back in the 90s. I'm big into movies and obviously reading fantasy, science fiction and all that kind of stuff. But back in the 90s, I was a bit disappointed with the lack of decent science fiction and, those kind of movies. So I thought, I'll just write my own screenplay. Not really thinking that I'd get it, made into a movie, but I just thought I'd try the exercise. And, it took me a few years, but I did it, and it was interesting. I learned quite a bit, and then I wrote another one after that, and then
Another screenplay?
Another screenplay, like a short film kind of one, about a man who's dealing with the onset of Alzheimer's. And then a few years after that, I was inspired by, remember Nanowrimo, the writing, I think it's like, 50?
That's the writing...
competition kind of thing. Anyway, I didn't actually do it, but it kind of inspired me to think, maybe I'll just try to write a scene as if it's from a novel, And I wrote it, and I thought, this is not bad. So, and I just kept on writing, and here we are. And...
Fantastic.
my first two books out.
First two books.
Well, yeah. It's one story, but it got bigger and bigger and bigger, and it just kind of grew. So I thought I'd break it into two.
Right.
So easy to handle, both an editing and publishing perspective.
Oh, it's easier to do it for two than it is to... It's as much work almost
exactly, yeah,
to do for two as it is for one.
Yeah. So that's where I came from as far as writing, my creative bent. Because I normally work in IT, which is completely different. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's all the logic and everything's got to
exactly.
flow.
Which has kind of helped me in some ways, because I would say I'm what you would call a plotter, So, I just did things in a logical way. I'll lay it out and then break it up again and break it down, and and which worked for me. But that was good.
And what was your favourite part of the process?
Oddly enough, I like editing the best.
Editing?
Yeah. Well, especially after the first draft is done. Before that, I mean, I do enjoy writing the story initially, but that's almost like the hard yards, is getting it down. Yeah, I thought it was a bit strange that I did like the editing, but yeah, there you go.
You have to wonder about yourself
Yeah, I know.
sometimes.
I'm thinking, what's wrong with me? But I really enjoy that process.
Excellent. So if there were 5 words that described you as a writer, what would they be?
Well, new, because I'm new to being an author at least. Economical, because I don't over-explain things in my novels. Oh, what's a couple of cinematic is one of them, because when I write, what I'm writing, I picture as if it's in the movies.
Right.
So, God, there was I can't think of any more.
That's right. You don't need to have all 5.
Yeah, that's all right.
I can never remember 5 things, just 4.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fantastic. And the whole indie author business,
Yep.
call it a business, how did you get into that? Did you know what you were up for?
At the start, I didn't, because I didn't know. I was doing all the writing and then not really worrying about the publishing side of it. I just thought, I'll just finish writing first and then I'll worry about it. But yeah, the last few years, I've kind of learnt a lot about either self-publishing or a hybrid or assisted publishing. And as we were speaking offline, it's really difficult to get traditional publishing. But as an indie author, you have a bit more independence, obviously, and you have a bit more control. But you do have to do the work yourself as well. I was lucky; I was assisted by Lescenault Press, which was really good. They do all the admin kind of stuff for me, which is great. So it's one less thing I have to worry about.
Yeah.
And they did a really good job. I'm really happy with them.
Excellent. Oh,
Yeah.
That's great to hear. And where can people find your book?
Obviously, all the online bookstores, Amazon, Booktopia, even Dimmicks and everywhere, all over the world as well. I did a bit of a search a few days ago and I found my book on a German online bookstore, and I couldn't understand most of the words on the page, but so it's everywhere. Yeah. But I also have my own online bookshop on my website.
Right. So that's the best place to go
for me. Yes,
for your returns.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. So
with the others to get the reach and get the returns on your own site.
And obviously it's all out everywhere. Ebooks and Amazon, Kindle, and Apple Books and all that. All right. So, yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Paul.
That's all right. Been
great.
Been a pleasure.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Oh, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Have you finished building your story and you're not sure which pathway to choose for publishing? The Book Reality Experience is a publishing assistance service offering partnership publishing solutions to authors. We have different pathways available and we'll recommend what we think works best for you and your story. Check out our website at www.bookreality.com for more information. Together, let's turn your book dream into a reality.
One of the many authors joining us as part of the Indie Book Fair here in Bunbury is Paul Hewer. I'll give you a bit of background. Paul grew up under what's described as the endless skies of country Western Australia. He devoured historical fiction, science fiction and fantasy books and movies from what was a pretty young age. In adulthood, his love of these genres led him to turn his hand to writing his own science fiction adventure screenplay. And following that, he wrote a short screenplay about a man coping with the onset of Alzheimer's, which is a topic that's very close to his heart. A national writing competition inspired Paul to try something slightly different, writing a single scene for a novel. Encouraged, he kept on writing. The Blackwater Chronicles was born out of that. Paul lives in Perth with his wife Linda, and he has a series of books, including the Blackwater Chronicles Book 1, Blackwater Chronicles Book 2, and there is another one out at the moment too called The Wooden Crow. And Paul's stopped by to have a chat with us. Thank you very much for joining us, Paul.
That's all right. It's a pleasure.
What originally inspired you to write? I mean, it's one thing, I guess, to love different stories and to love certain novels and all the rest of it. It's another to actually sit down and write.
Well, I think it was back. I mean, I've always loved reading, so I've always liked consuming that kind of creative medium. So, but I think it was back in the 90s. I was just a bit I love going to the movies as well. But back in the 90s, I was a bit disappointed with the lack of decent, science fiction, action movies and stuff like that. So I thought, why not? I'll just try my own hand at it, see what I can come up with.
It's really hard sometimes, isn't it, to find a really good science fiction movie, a sci-fi if you like, that you can get your teeth into. I mean, beyond sort of the hideous alien creature breaking out of someone's stomach and devouring them, beyond that, a really creative bit of science fiction sometimes can be really hard to find, can't it?
So, yeah, I thought, I'll just give it a go. So I just started writing my own screenplay, you know.
Now, the big question most people would ask you, I reckon, is it hard or is it a lot easier than you think?
No, it's actually harder than you think. As I found out.
Why did I know he was going to say that?
Yeah. Oh, look, it's quite actually difficult. The hardest part is the commitment to doing something for so long, you know. It's not something you can just sit down and belt out in a week.
You don't just sit down, there it is.
No,
Thank you.
unfortunately not.
The old adage about the creative juices flowing, how often do they take you in a different direction to the one you originally planned to go?
Quite often. You know, I'm a bit of a planner for my stories.
Yep.
So I know where I got to go. But, yeah, when you actually start writing, after you've done your outline and everything, yeah, it does lead you in different directions that you don't...
How do you go when it comes to staying on track? Do you generally find that you pretty well keep on track, or do you find that, you definitely do go off on a tangent?
I generally keep on track, but if I go off on a bit of a tangent for whatever reason, I soon figure out whether it's the right way to go.
Yep.
And if it's not the right way to go, I'd take a step back and get back to where I've actually planned.
How often do you say to yourself, stop, time to rethink this, because as you think about it, more and more ideas come to you and you just almost want to rewrite the whole thing?
Well, yeah, that's happened a few times, mainly because, you know, this is all kind of new to me, so I was kind of making up my process as I went along. So, it was, I've had to backtrack, rewrite this, rewrite that. At one point with my novel, I ended up rewriting the last third of the book because I tried to fit too much into it.
I would imagine then the difficulty is if you put too much in, working what you need to take out. That can be the challenge.
Yeah. But I was lucky in this particular case. A friend of mine who was helping me with my, editing my first draft, he just said, no, don't worry about that. That can be your next book. And from that point on, it just went, oh yeah, of course. And it just made finishing it off so much easier, So, and now I have an outline for my next book. So it's great.
I love that. And thank you very much for talking to us. Just before you go,
yes,
I'm going to ask the obvious question, to which I think I know I'm going to get the obvious answer, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
Go for it.
If anyone is thinking about writing a book, do you say go for it, or do you say think about it, because it might actually be a lot harder than you think?
Oh, I would say go for it, but I would also say it's quite a commitment. More of a commitment than I expected, I can tell you. But I have enjoyed the process, so yeah, I don't regret it. And yeah, it's definitely go for it.
Paul Hewer, thank you very much for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you.
The excerpt I have for you today is from the prologue and the first part of The Wooden Crown. He knew death was near. He felt his life slipping away as he fell to his knees in an expanding pool of his own blood. Go! He reached up toward the gallery, arm heavy as iron, as pain shot through his chest. He searched, but an ever-darkening mist clouded his vision. They must not find you. He tried to rise, but they kicked him back to the ground. He propped himself up, but every breath felt like a knife in his chest. Shadowy figures moved about. Their muted voices taunted him. Run! Get away! He shouted. Blood sprayed from his mouth and nose. He still felt pain, but from where he could no longer discern. He coughed and slumped onto his back as they shoved him again, his shallow breathing now a series of short, wet gasps. Get away, my boy. He closed his eyes and surrendered to the darkness. Chapter 1. Leto. Leto leaped from the wall to an abutting battlement and dropped to the rampart below, barely making a sound. He glanced over the edge at the rocky ground below. It was a long way down. "Damn you," Jacob said in a loud whisper. "Slow down." Leto grinned as his friend held his arms out for balance, took a few quick steps and jumped, landing next to him with a thud. "Quiet," Leto said, keeping his voice low. "Are you trying to get us caught?" "No, because if we're caught up here again, it'll be my head, not yours." Jacob was several years older than Leto, a couple of inches taller, and, despite a more heavy-set body, almost as quick and nimble. He was distracted by the girls, but Leto was always his priority. About 10 summers ago, Leto couldn't tighten the girth on his saddle. The pony had puffed himself up, making it difficult for a boy of 7. He continued to struggle until a tall, scruffy, dark-haired boy offered to help. Leto accepted in a heartbeat. The boy pulled the girth tight and kneeled the pony in the side. The pony snorted in surprise and relaxed its chest. He pulled the girth tighter, waited a few moments, kneed the pony again, tightened the buckle, and tied it off. These ponies can be stubborn. A couple of good whacks usually gets them in line. "Thank you," Leto said. From there, their friendship grew, and now they couldn't be kept apart for long. Being a prince made it difficult for Leto to make real friends. He'd lost his older brother, Connor, over 10 years ago, so he clung to Jacob's friendship. It didn't concern Leo that he worked in the stables. Jacob treated Leto like a person, not someone special, and that's all that mattered. However, more than a few complaints had come from members of the household about their behaviour, causing friction with his father. Ultimately, his father made Jacob an offer he couldn't refuse: to be Leto's squire and bodyguard, or get packed off to Anchorage and muck out the harbour stables. Jacob took his new position very seriously, often to Leto's annoyance, watching out for Leto and frequently preventing him from making foolish decisions. However, through no fault of his own, he was not always successful. Leto loved him like a brother, but right now he knew his friend would not be pleased. He was afraid of heights, or of Leto injuring himself. The cause of his anxiety would be Leto's father. "I'm sure he wouldn't punish you too badly," Leto said with a wry smile. Jacob rolled his eyes, shaking his head in disapproval. "Don't worry," Leto assured him. "He'll only put you in the stocks for a day or so." Leto started towards the nearest tower. "He wouldn't do that, would he?" Jacob said and followed. "He might." "You wouldn't let him do that to me, would you?" "I'd protest. You have my word." Jacob sighed as they approached the bastion. "I don't doubt your sincerity, but he'll do what he pleases." "If it makes you feel any better, I'd be most distressed if he did punish you," Leto said. "It would be his way of punishing me." "Easy for you to say." They stopped near the tower opening. Leto glanced at Jacob. "Are you scared of my father?" "Of course. He's the king." I really like that excerpt. The way Paul managed to capture so much of the character's sense of self in such a small piece of the literature was amazing. My first key takeaway was the fact that Paul came from an IT background, and because of that, he used the plotting device to help with his stories to start with. My second takeaway was how he admitted to learning so much about his process along the way and having to rewrite the last third of his story. My third key takeaway was his tip: go for it. He admitted the fact that it is quite a commitment, but he would always recommend that people do go for it. What were your key takeaways? If you'd like to carry on the conversation with Paul, then he has a website, paulhewer.com. He's also on Facebook, Instagram, and Threads. All the contact details are in the show notes, along with his book information. The next special episode, you will hear from Heather Salter-Purvis. If you are enjoying the show and would like to show some support, then please subscribe and share these episodes with a friend. Or if you want to go the next step, you can buy us a cuppa. Head on over to ko-fi.com/findingalara. That's ko-fi.com/findingalara. There is an option for you to buy us a cup of tea for $2, or you can join the Shadow Lair for $5 a month, where you receive exclusive content and advanced information about the show. If you would like to get in touch with myself or the team at Bushland Castle Productions, then I'm on Instagram and TikTok as @FindingAlara. There is a Discord channel and Facebook group called Finding Alara Podcast. The Bushland Castle Productions team are on Facebook, Instagram, and Discord as BCP Creative. Or you can check out the website bushlandcastleproductions.com for the most up-to-date information. If you would like to get in touch with Chris, then he is on Facebook as Chris Ilsley. If you'd like to get in touch with Paul, then he's on Facebook as Paul Vandermeer and has his own podcast, forest.chat. The music is brought to you by At Keys of Moon Music and is called The Epic Hero. If you enjoyed listening to Finding Alara, have any questions, or just want to share your world with us, then please get in touch. Until next time, keep up the search for your Alara.